One moment. Is this focused? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Oh shit, is it recording? Okay, it's recording. Let's give me a second. 1 second, everyone. Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks have lost Jalen Brunson. And I know, that's old news. You're telling me that happened 2 weeks ago now? I don't even remember. But, I think in order to look at this objectively, I needed to take some time to recover from that. Because, I'll say that I have some bias. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. They're my favorite team. And I did not like that they lost Jalen Brunson. I was bummed about it. It sucks. Didn't want to see him go. I was hoping he was going to be back, and I still wish he was still on the team. I'm not going to lie. I wish Jalen Brunson was on the team. But, hear me out. It sucks that not Dallas. It sucks that Brunson is gone. It sucks that Dallas couldn't bring him back. But Dallas will be fine. The Mavericks will be okay. And there's a couple different reasons why. So number one, let's all be real with ourselves. Why is this team good? What makes Dallas good? Number one is Luka Doncic. Is Luka Doncic still on the roster? That's the number one question. Yes, Luka Doncic is still on the roster. Therefore, the Mavericks have a chance to be great. Luka is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. He's not once in a lifetime. You know what I mean. Whatever. So they have Luka. Number two, what else made the Dallas team special this year? In the second half of the season, their defense was amazing. I think they were the best. Sorry. I think they were either the best or the second best defense during the second half of the year. I should look that up. I'll look that up right now. I'll cut this out, me searching it up. Okay, I was wrong. They weren't first or second. They were fourth. That's still really good. Fourth is really good behind, I think, Golden State? Behind Golden State, Boston, and Miami, I think, were the three teams ahead of them. Yeah, Golden State, Boston, and Miami. So, going into next year, yes, Jalen Brunson's gone, but Luka's there, and everyone who's there that kind of made them such a good defensive team. I mean, Jason Kidd being the coach is probably number one. This is probably the number one reason for that. But, their defensive guys are still there. Was Brunson really helping out on defense? All credit to Brunson. Brunson's a great player, and I believe, from what I remember, I watched a lot of Mavericks games. He put an effort on defense. There's no doubt about that, but, he's no defensive stalwart by any means. And I'm not saying that to disrespect Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a great player. Nick's got a great player. Again, I just want to make sure no one thinks I'm trying to dish Jalen Brunson, because I wish Jalen Brunson was still on the team. I do. Would be better with him. But the Mavericks will be fine, and I do think they could win a championship either this year or even the next year, and maybe even down the road. Why do I think that? Because I think there was a fly. I didn't do that for no reason. I think they're in a unique position. Not unique. But they're in a special position where with Luka and the surrounding pieces, they can be, a top 3 offensive team. I mean, we saw it the year before last season. They were the best offense in the league, right? They had one of the best offenses of all time. So with Luka and the surrounding guys, Tim Hardaway, Spencer Dinwiddie, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, all these guys, Christian Wood, and JaVale McGee, Josh Green, Hardy, I don't want to just name their whole team. I got to get my point out. They're capable of being a top 3 offense. And there's no reason that they can't replicate what they did last year on defense. They still have Jason Kidd. They still have the same guys. I believe everyone's bought in on that team. I mean, the only question mark maybe is Christian Wood, but he seems bought in. He was at Summer League chopping it up with his new teammates, So there's hope. There's hope. So I think they could be a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense. That sounds like a championship team to me, right? Like, am I wrong? I don't think so. But yes, Jalen Brunson's gone. You lose a little bit on offense because Jalen Brunson's gone. That sucks. But there are some positives. Spencer Dinwiddie's still there, and he has another year removed. Having mic troubles. Hopefully this mic works out. Dinwiddie's still there, and he's another year removed from his injuries that he had. That's good. That's a great bone. Spencer Dinwiddie is still there, and that's great. He's another year removed from the injuries he's been dealing with, and so maybe we'll see him healthy. Maybe we won't. That would suck. But I think there's a world, and don't get me wrong, I think Brunson's going to be great for the Knicks. But I do think there's a world where we see Dinwiddie be better than Jalen Brunson. I think it's very possible. I think Brunson's going to average, 17 to 21, maybe 22 points on the Knicks. And he's going to be a great player. But if we can see Dinwiddie kind of return to what he used to be, or maybe even take a step forward, we could be looking at a great player. Dinwiddie plays defense. He might not be as good as he used to be because of his injuries and stuff. But he plays defense when he's locked in. But yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the new additions to the team who aren't Jalen Brunson and why I believe they can still be good. I think the Mavericks got better defensively. Jalen Brunson wasn't really helping them much on the offense. Not offense. Jalen Brunson wasn't helping them much on the defensive side of the ball. For no lack of effort. He plays hard. He's a great player. Love Jalen Brunson. But, he's not clamping up. He's no defensive stalwart. So you bring in someone like JaVale McGee, who the only way I can really think to describe JaVale McGee is solid. JaVale McGee is super solid. Great player. You don't want him to be he's one of our best players. You don't want to have JaVale McGee in that kind of position, but he's not. He's here where he can be a very solid either starting center or come off the bench and put in bring in a lot of energy, whichever. I think they're saying they're going to start him at the 5, which I think can go pretty well. I think it can go well. It's interesting. We'll see how it works out. But we know JaVale McGee can play defense, and we know he's not a liability on offense. He can catch lobs, he can set screens, he can rebound. He's a high energy guy, and he also has asthma, I have asthma too. So JaVale McGee, Team JaVale McGee over here. That's not a bonus though. That's bad. I don't know why I brought that up. But yeah, so JaVale McGee, a plus on defense and on offense. He's not an offensive player, but he's not a negative on offense, so that's good. He can't, he doesn't have he doesn't extend the floor, which kind of sucks. You'd wish he could shoot threes, but I've seen him hit some, but it's not important. The Mavericks draft pick. Let's talk about Jaden Hardy, the Mavericks draft pick. I guess they technically traded for him, but the Mavericks draft pick in the second round. Jaden Hardy falling to the second round is ridiculous. I think this mic turned off. I'm going to put it down. Jaden Hardy falling to the second round is ridiculous. And let me tell you why. Before last year, so Jaden Hardy, leaving high school, decides not to go to college, goes to the G League Ignite thing, Is that a good thing? Who knows? I don't really care about that. I'm not here to talk about that. But Jaden Hardy was basically a lock to be a top 3 kind of guy in this draft. That's what everyone thought about Jaden Hardy. That's what everyone's been thinking about Jaden Hardy. And then he gets off to a rough start in the G League. And, that happens. Gets off to a rough start. People are like, he's not really what we thought. But then he picks it back up. He picks it back up in the second half. He makes a lot of strides. Looks capable. He brings up his shooting numbers. He had a really good second half in the G League. But, the damage had already been kind of done. He wasn't looking like a top prospect anymore. I'll agree with that, you know. I mean, and I'm not going to act like I'm a draft expert. I don't really watch any college basketball, barely any, maybe a little bit in the tournament. And then G League Ignite, I'm not watching any of that until it's time for the draft. I basically know almost nothing about these guys other than their names, and I read about them every once in a while just because I'm interested, but I'm not in there watching basically until the draft. But let's look. He's been that guy. He's been like the gold. He's been like one of those guys who's like, oh, he's destined for the NBA, and now all of a sudden he's pick number 37 overall in the second. He's in the second round. Like, come on, how'd this guy fall to the second round? Late first round, okay, it didn't go as he planned in the G League, but second round, this is kind of like but this is kind of like Kevin Porter Jr. Originally he was like top lottery guy, and then he fell to like the end of the first round or something like that. Was he the last pick in the first round? I'm not gonna look it up, but he might have been. But I think Jaden Hardy can be better than Kevin Porter Jr. Not to disrespect Kevin Porter Jr. I love Kevin Porter Jr. But Jaden Hardy's interesting, and I think he can help the Mavericks both offensively and defensively. He's showing that he's got a pretty good skill set offensively, but I'm not even here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what he can do defensively. He's a bigger body than Jalen Brunson. He's 6'4" with a 6'9" wingspan, so he's got the length. With that kind of length, and I've seen him play. He's pretty athletic. With that kind of athleticism and that length, he can be a great defender. Will he be a great defender? We still have to wait and see about that. But he can be, and he's shown that he can be a capable defender one-on-one. I think from what I've seen and what I've read and all this different kind of stuff, he's still learning. He needs to get used to playing in space, playing off-ball defense and everything. He's not the best team defender right now, but he's, at the very least right now, he's a solid man-to-man defender, and that's good. And those other things can come. He's shown... It's inconsistent, but, he's shown that he does give effort on defense. At least some of the times, he's trying to close out. He's trying to fight around screens. He's trying to do this. Maybe a little inconsistent, maybe a little more inconsistent than you'd want, but he puts in the effort. And I think it'll get more consistent under Jason Kidd. I think he'll be... I'm not saying he's going to be a great defensive player, but he won't be a defensive liability. I genuinely don't think he'll be a defensive liability for this team. I think he'll be a competent to pretty good defender. And then offense, I think the offense will come around. I don't know about how it's going to be this year, but I think he might surprise a lot of people with his offense. Okay, finally, let's talk about Christian Wood. Christian Wood is kind of polarizing to a lot of people, I think. I like Christian Wood. I really like Christian Wood. I'm going to try to be objective about it, though. Is Christian Wood a good defender? Sorry about that. I had to reset my camera. But is Christian Wood a good defender? That's a good question. One that I'm not sure I'm the best person to answer. Let's talk about last year and the year before, maybe on the Rockets. Christian Wood. Was Christian Wood a good defender? I don't know. I feel like he was kind of more of a non-factor on defense. I don't think that's because he was a bad defender. I think maybe it's an effort thing. Because let's be real, he was on the Rockets. And I know we want to say oh, it doesn't matter what team you're on or how much you're down by. You should be giving your all on offense or defense, no matter what. But come on, man, you're on the Rockets, and your team isn't winning all that many games. You're not going to be locked in on the defensive side. I think Christian Wood has the athletic capabilities and the body to be a pretty good defender. I don't think he's going to be locking up centers one-on-one or anything, but I think he has the body, the length, the athleticism to defend in space pretty well. I think he'll get some Roman blocks. And he's not small, He'll be okay in the post, I think, on defense. I think he'll be fine. He's a competitor, I think. From what I've seen, he's got a little attitude to him, which I like. He'll bring some fire. I don't think he'll be a problem in the locker room. From everything I've seen, I know there's been some talk from the Rockets oh, whatever, but you're gonna label someone because of one incident. I don't know. I view this Christian Wood thing as only a positive. I've seen a lot of people kind of be like, is that really what you need? Do you really want that? Like, yes, I want Christian Wood. I believe he can turn it around on defense. If he doesn't, that sucks. That's too bad. It's not like Porzingis was doing anything on defense for these past 2 years. We know Christian Wood can shoot. We thought Porzingis could shoot, but he didn't really do it that well. Let's just be real. He wasn't really doing it like he used to or how we thought. We know Christian Wood can shoot. Christian Wood can shoot. Christian Wood is a legitimately good three-point shooter. He can space the floor from one of the big man positions, and that's great. That's incredibly valuable in the NBA today. And he's pretty athletic. You know, what is he, 6'11", 6'10"? He's not 7 foot, right? He's like 6'11". Pretty athletic. He's good. He's got a good frame to him. He can be a good defender in space. He can hit threes. He can create with the ball in his hands, for gosh sake. Like, Luka's on the bench. Maybe Dinwiddie's out. You know, maybe Tim Hardaway and Christian Wood are on the court and they're just hooping, you know? They're just taking turns playing one-on-one, which is not a good offensive system. I don't recommend doing that, but it'd be cool to see if, like, one game where they're just on fire, that kind of happens. That'd be cool. That was a tangent, off topic. Sorry about that. But Christian Wood, I believe, can be good. If he buys in, I don't know what's going to happen with his minutes. I don't know if he's starting or coming off the bench. But if Christian Wood is bought in on this team, I think he will be big. And I know I'm saying that like it's a small thing, him buying in. I'm saying that like it's a small thing. It's really not. Buying in is not a small thing. I'm talking about it like it is a little bit, and I realize that. So I'm not saying Christian Wood buying in is a given. But I do think it's promising seeing him at Summer League with his new teammates, hanging out with JaVale McGee even. So, like, I think a good relationship between JaVale and Christian Wood would be good, because if anyone's taking Christian Wood's minutes, it'll probably be JaVale McGee. And then, you know, they have Kleber and Dwight Powell still who are going to get minutes. They're going to play. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely going to play. But, yeah, I think Christian Wood can be very good for this team. I think he can. I think Jaden Hardy will be a good player for this team. I think JaVale McGee will be a good player for this team. I think all three of these guys will be a good players for this team. And if you were to ask me, who do you want? You want Christian Wood, Jaden Hardy, and JaVale McGee, or Jalen Brunson? I would take these three guys if I'm trying to be good now. For the future, actually, I might take these guys for the future too. Jaden Hardy's young, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Christian Wood's pretty young, and I like Christian Wood. JaVale McGee's going to be out of the league within 5 years, so whatever. Maybe less. He's pretty old. But Jalen Brunson. I don't know. Jalen Brunson might already be what we see. I think he'll get a little better. I think Jalen Brunson will be a good player. Maybe he'll make an all-star team at some point. I don't know. But the Mavericks will be okay. The Mavericks will be fine. I miss Jalen Brunson. I wish him all the success. In New York. Unless he's trying to win a championship over Dallas, in which case I wish him no success in that particular series. Other than that, I only want the best for Jalen Brunson. I love Jalen Brunson. As a Mavericks fan, I'll always be cheering for Jalen Brunson. But the Mavericks will be okay without him. Or at least that's what I think. But we'll just have to wait and see.